All right, today we're going to break down one of the most dramatic crises in medicine. What happens when the liver, your body's unsung hero, completely fails? It's a high-stakes, cascading disaster, and we're going to walk through it step by step.
We don't think about it much, but your liver is an absolute powerhouse. It's this hero working silently in the background, doing hundreds of jobs, detoxing your blood, making proteins, storing energy. It really is the champion of your entire internal system.
So what happens when it just stops, when it shuts down? We're going to follow a real-life emergency scenario to see just how fast things can spiral out of control into this life-threatening cascade.
But here's the thing. The story doesn't actually begin in the ER. Nope. It starts years, maybe even decades earlier with a condition called cirrhosis.
So cirrhosis, think of it like this. Healthy, soft liver tissue is slowly being replaced by useless, tough scar tissue. This is usually from years of damage, things like chronic alcohol abuse or hepatitis. This scarring basically chokes the life out of the organ, creating what is, for all intents and purposes, a ticking time bomb inside the body.
Okay, so let's jump forward in time. We're in the ER. Our patient, who has this underlying cirrhosis, has just been rushed in and they're vomiting blood. This is it. This is the moment that time bomb finally goes off.
Now, to understand what's happening, you have to get this concept: portal hypertension. And it's really important to note, this is not the kind of high blood pressure you check on your arm. This is a massive internal traffic jam right at the front door of the liver, and its consequences are absolutely devastating. And this slide just illustrates the whole problem perfectly. On the left, you've got a healthy liver, blood is just sailing through no problem. But on the right, with cirrhosis, that scar tissue creates a complete and total bottleneck. The blood can't get through, but it has to go somewhere.
The best analogy is to imagine a huge pileup on a major highway. What happens? All that traffic gets forced onto these tiny little side streets, roads that were never ever meant to handle that kind of volume. That is exactly what's happening with the blood. It gets rerouted into these delicate, thin-walled veins in the stomach and esophagus.
And under that insane, relentless pressure, those fragile little veins start to swell up dangerously. This puts them at an extremely high risk of just bursting without any warning. And that is the source of the life-threatening bleeding we're seeing in our patient in the ER. Okay, so let's switch gears to the response. For the medical team that just met this patient, the next 5 minutes are an absolute blur. It's a systematic, high-speed race against the clock to stop a total collapse. What's wild here is that this isn't a checklist you go through one by one. This is organized chaos. Every single one of these steps is happening at pretty much the same time. It's like a coordinated dance, and the goal is to stabilize the patient before they bleed out.
You see the number 2 there? That stands for 2 large bore IV lines. And you got to think of these like fire hoses, not garden hoses. Why 2? Because with this much blood loss, a single IV line is just not fast enough to pump in the fluids and blood needed to keep the system from shutting down. It is all about massive, rapid resuscitation.
Then there's this number, 90/60. That's the patient's blood pressure, and let me tell you, that is a giant alarm bell ringing. A healthy BP is more like 120/80. This tells the team the patient is in shock. The tank is running empty, and critical organs just aren't getting the oxygen they need to live.
Now, this might seem a little random, but tracking urine output is a huge deal. It's not really about the bladder, it's a direct window into the kidneys. If that number drops, it's a terrifying sign that another major organ system is starting to fail because it's not getting enough blood.
So once the team gets the immediate bleeding under control, you'd think the worst is over, right? Well, that's when the true horrifying scale of the problem really comes into focus. This was never just about bleeding. This is a multi-system failure in progress.
This table just gives you a powerful snapshot of the disaster. See, a failing liver doesn't just stay in its lane. It's the central hub for so many functions that when it goes down, it pulls the entire body down with it, one system after another, like dominoes.
So all that confusion and lethargy the patient is showing, that's not just from blood loss. It's a sign that toxins, like ammonia, are completely bypassing that broken liver and are literally poisoning the brain.
And this explains that severe, painful bloating you often see. It's a nasty double whammy. The high pressure from the portal hypertension forces fluid out of the blood vessels, and at the same time, the failing liver can't make a protein called albumin, which is supposed to keep fluid in. The body's whole fluid regulation system is just broken.
So, with all these systems failing one by one, supportive care can only buy you time. It can't fix the root problem. So, what's the ultimate solution? What's the endgame here? And the hard reality is this: a liver transplant is the only thing that can truly fix this. It's an incredible procedure. You're literally replacing the scarred, dead organ with a new, healthy one. But it is also a desperate, desperate race to find a match for a patient whose body is in a rapid, unstoppable decline. So, when you boil it all down, what you should really take away is that managing this condition is just a constant, exhausting balancing act. You can see from all these priorities here, it's a minute-by-minute battle on so many different fronts, all to just keep those dominoes from toppling over while you hope and pray for that ultimate fix.
And that really brings us to the final, big question that this whole crisis forces us to ask. It's a stark reminder that the liver is a tough organ, but it's not invincible. It makes you wonder, how do we do a better job of protecting the one organ that works so hard every single day to protect us?